Division 2 action now from week 7 is Paul Reynolds at the bottom, who recorded this, so we'll be seeing his hand, takes on John Harmon at the top. You can see both these players enter this contest with 29 points, so this is a kind of make or break for both. It looks like it's either red-black or mono-red at the top for John, and at the bottom I'm guessing it's this kind of black-white deck. I think it won the SCG Classic at the weekend. So it's kind of a black-white mid-range deck from Paul. Both these players probably need a big result this week in order to feature in finals. John, of course, we met on the podcast that was just released on Monday, yesterday. This deck from John we've seen quite a bit of this season across various leagues, but Paul's deck we don't get to see too much of. Is John going wide here? I don't know if Paul's deck has sweepers at this stage for a mid-range deck. I'm not really sure. You can see here no interest in Gideon, so you just get in, plays the Kari Zev. Again, there's like a bit of an issue here with the... What's he going to plus on? He's going to plus on the Soul Scar Mage. I think that's the correct decision because Soul Scar Mage can get prowess triggers, and also and I think he wants to bait the Kari Zev with the Seal Away. So Kari Zev will attack here. He can potentially lose that Gideon though, because he's at I think he's certainly going to lose the Gideon now. Although Cast Out and Seal Away are pretty good answers. Red decks and also the red-black variation in those colours has no way to deal with enchantments. This is kind of a frustrating recording issue here on Paul's side. I don't know what this is about. It seems to the top player, it cuts off half their cards, so we can't really see what's going on there. And kind of a giveaway of this as well is if you look at the players, you can see just the names. Normally they have the avatar as well with the life total featured in quite big numbers on the avatar. I think that play is a bit inefficient going for the Cast Out under a Kindling Phoenix. I think that turn he could have played Knight of Malice and also Seal Away the Phoenix when the Phoenix attacked. All the Soul Scar Mages coming out of John's deck now, but the one sort of thing that's really sticking out for me at the moment in John's list is that he's had all these creatures and we haven't seen any actual spells to trigger the prowess on the Soul Scar Mages. He plus Gideon on Kari Zev. Kari Zev has Menace, so he would have to double block, so he's obviously not intending to double block. And there's the 4th Soul Scar Mage. I think it's the first time I've seen it this season. Now this is going to be a braid on the Heart of Quran is going to give all of those Soul Scar Mages prowess, but ominously you can see John is out of cards. And annoyingly, as I was mentioning, I'm not going to harp on about the formatting here, but we can't see, but those Soul Scar Mages would be 2/3s. So one of them would die to the Knight of Malice. He can still, he should have swung the Kari, he can still swing Kari Zev, you get the 2/1 trigger. I think it's a massive misplay, because if he swung then, Paul is just dead on board next turn. Because you can see now he's only going to take 6. or less than that. He's going to take 4 when he should be at 6. So that's, I think that's a pretty big there from John. He's got 1 card in hand. So he swings this time. Did Paul miss an activation there, perhaps? Oh, he can't block that Karizev. He's going to take it all. If there's no spell, I was going to say if there's a spell there, it's just game over. He chose not to block with the Knight of Malice. I think that's a misplay again. He kind of went to block Karizev, then realised it had... he's just dead on board now. Oh no, he can plus on the Rekindling Phoenix. Yeah, he went to block the Karizev and realised it's got Menace, so it cancelled the block, and then in the end didn't block anything. Gideon pluses on the Rekindling Phoenix, so he's going to get a blocker here with the Knight from History of Benalia, and you can see he also made an emblem with Gideon. So that's going to force an attack on Gideon because he cannot block... John cannot win the game while Gideon is on the board. So he's got to get Gideon off the board first. Everybody at Gideon here. Kenra, I think, was on the Scrap Heap Scrounger, so he can't block... sorry, not the Scrap Heap Scrounger, the Knight, so he can't block with that. So Gideon's down. And that's... He's 1 land short from playing Lair Dawnbringer. Just doing the math now. Rekindling Phoenix just has him dead on board. Yes, he's going to concede, so we're going to go to game 2. No way to block the flyer. Game 1 going to John. And it's been said a fair bit in SEG commentary here that Bombert's Courier is starting to get a lot of more respect. You can see that there with the removal spell being used to take it down. And I think it's a good call as well because it just generates massive card advantages. You saw in the first game, even though he won, John got to a point where he ran out of cards and was top decking. So the Bomat Courier, if it had cards underneath, would have been a good one too. To regenerate his hand. I think I would have played out Heart of Quran there first, because then you can play the Scrounger next turn and crew the Heart of Quran. Oh well, Heart of Quran's going to have Summoning Sickness. That's a pretty aggressive use of a Braid to take down the Scrap Heap Scrounger. It's going to get 2 Soul Scar Mage triggers here. So you can see History of Benalia is just going to fizzle here because there's no Knights left on the battlefield. Cast away to take out the Soul Scar Mage. John now again down to 2 cards with no action on the board. And he draws a land, and now he plays a Rekindling Phoenix. So you can see that Gideon's going to be able to check that for a while until Cast Out can find the 4th land for Cast Out. I think John probably wants a Glory Bringer here. So Heart of Crown is going to be a blocker. And it can also block that Rekindling Phoenix in the air if he wants to. Because you can see Paul's struggling here to hit his land drops. Oh, he forgot about... I think every week somebody does this. They forget that the Heart of Quran can be crewed from a Planeswalker. So he's attacking here into Rekindling Phoenix. You can see he's tapped out, so it's a pretty safe block. I believe the one that comes back has haste. Yeah, so he can actually attack this in now, but he would. I mean, it doesn't really work out here for Paul. I was going to say he can cast out the egg, but he can just cast out the phoenix if he wanted to. Yeah, I like this attack from John. So he can crew the Heart of Quran, but if he'd have to trade with the phoenix, and then John's going to get the phoenix back anyway. So Heart of Quran's going to go down. Oh no, Fatal Push! What a top deck. Yeah, so that changes things. That was a huge top deck, that Fatal Push. I think advantage big time in John's favour until that happened, and now he's playing off the top of his deck. If Paul can find the fourth land, I think this one's over. Because Cast Out will check any haste threats. Curry's Ev is a nuisance. But you can see there's 9 power on the board for Paul. He's going to be swinging... He could actually swing 13 here if he wanted. You can see no cards in hand for John. Yeah, so I like this attack a lot. Because Soulscar Mages can only chump block here. And we're about to go to game 3. On to game 3 now. There was nothing that could save him at that particular point. So here's a Bomat Courier again, but we can see nothing on Paul's side that can actually take care of that. I think he would trade that Exemplar for it if he had the opportunity. And maybe John's pretty happy with that trade as well. Because once the Scrap Heap Scrounger comes down next turn, well, John doesn't even need to trade. There you go. I kind of like this play here of what he's doing. He's tapping out. He's tapping out and saying, okay, if you want to remove my Bomat Courier, you had to do it on your turn. Here's an aggressive use of a Braid again. And he's still finding the answer. John is still finding the answers here, because each of these removal spells is giving Soulscar Mage prowess. You can see though, a big swing is coming in Paul's favour, thanks to Settle the Wreckage. If he can get another creature here, I think he'd be pretty happy. He's going to get a Goblin Chainwheeler out of it as well. Then we're going to see one card left in John's hand, and this is a pretty important reason. I mean, it's not going to be effective this time, but it's one reason why you want to attack first and then cast your spells after. He's not going to do it this time, okay. Makes the emblem, so he can play out Heart of Quran here as well, because he's going to be able to crew Heart of Quran. Or don't know what, I think he, oh no, he's got 4, I thought he had 3. Alright, that makes sense. So here if you John, you want to attack first into before you tap out your mana, just so you can get the Bomat Courier triggers. So they all come in at Gideon. And there's the blowout, Settle the Wreckage. And he taps, and you can see right there, John up to 6 cards in hand, so that's just an instant and a ton of mana. So while the Settle the Wreckage was a big swing, John's looking pretty good in pretty good shape. He can pretty much play out all his Hazarets, his Chandras. Five cards in hand. Surely he's got a major threat. Let's see what they are. Goblin Chainwheeler. That's a threat right there. Now, it's going to have to trade, though, with the Heart of Quran. No good no point exerting here. You can see he's going to activate the Quran afterwards. Hey, he just took the damage. It's a bit surprising. He's got his own second Heart of Quran now. Yeah, this is the problem again. He accidentally tapped that mana. I don't believe there's any way in X-Mage to one-tap that mana. We ran into this problem in another match that I commentated as well. Aether Sphere Harvester is a good pickup here. The reason I say it's a good pickup is because that's just going to die. He's got one card in hand. I'm not sure what the play is here. Has he forgotten twice in a row about the Heart of Quran? And it was a Goblin Chainwheeler last time as well. The game 2, the exact same thing happened. He forgot that Gideon can crew the Heart of Quran. So you can see here, Gideon has actually plussed on Glorybringer, so it's going to enable John to at least use a Glorybringer to crew the Aethersphere Harvester. But I think he needs an Abrade to get this Heart of Quran off the battlefield. It's a nuisance. 4 mana is really 4 power is tough for Red to deal with because the Lightning Strike's only 3 damage and the Shock is only 2. Glorybringer can't do any. It can block though. He could have just blocked the Scrap Heap Scrounger there. His other option he could have done was to crew the Harvester with the Bomat Courier, and he would have been able to kill the Scrap Heap Scrounger. Again, here's Kenra, but Kenra can't. Is not going to be able to plus on Heart of Quran. Okay, I like this attack. If he swings everybody, he can swing 2 Harvesters. I think he's got lethal here. Just do the math. 2 Harvesters and a Kenra. Only one of them can be blocked. Yeah, if he swings everybody, he's got the match. What's he doing? Is he not attacking? He's only... Everybody... Oh, okay. No, Kenra came down, so the Harvester doesn't have Summoning Sickness. I think he's just missed a chance there. He has to get Gideon off the battlefield, but... He missed 3 points of damage. And now this is going to be super tough. Red cannot beat Lyra Dawnbringer. He needs 2 spells to take it down because it has first strike. I think this one's over. Even a Eternalized Kenra is not going to be good enough. He'll sack the Bomat Courier to try and find something. I think he could have just swung that in attack and then in response. Okay, this is his way out. Gideon down. But I still don't see how he can win this one. No attack there. Crude but didn't attack. Only draws lands. He can actually just start swinging the Lyra Dawnbringer. This is a suicide attack. Because even if he hits a Scrap Heap Scrounger, what's he targeting? He's targeting Lyra, but he doesn't have any cards in hand to draw the final point of damage. That would certainly work if he had a shock. Lyra's got first strike. I suspect he's forgotten, or he didn't know that it has first strike. And you can see that the points, the life point swing there is huge. Even though he lost of Hada Karan, he's just got another one straight back. As Lyra comes in now, well, he can actually swing that safely because the first strike's going to take down one of the blockers. He can only present one blocker actually. Okay, so he's got the Glory Bringer. What he needs to do now, the only path for victory here for John is to, well, that's suicide. I was going to say his only path to victory is to draw a shock or a lightning strike, or even a braid. So he's got a few options, and then exert the Glory Bringer on the Dawnbringer, and then use the spell to do the last parts of damage. But this one I think is unwinnable now. Just going to skip ahead. Yeah, Paul actually takes down Standard. That was inevitable. So we're on to Modern, where we see this is his usual deck that he plays. It's a blue. I don't know if he's got the black this week. Sometimes it's Esper, sometimes it's blue-white. The Taking Turns deck. And also, John, I spoke a bit about this deck to John on the podcast. It's his kind of spin on Elves. This is going to be an interesting matchup because Paul's deck has a degree of inevitability about it. It has to survive to turn about turn 5 for it to win. It needs to survive to turn 5. Whilst the Elves deck is a very fast deck, so it can win very quickly. But you can see exhaustion is going to be huge. Tap down all of John's creatures. Paul is at 14, but I think this first one is not looking good for John now. Paul just doing the math. There's two. The Archdruid is the actual Lord here. We can't quite see the powers at the bottom, so I think he's got 2, 4, 6. He's actually got lethal on board, I think. Paul didn't. You can see in his hand he didn't have any extra turn cards there. Yeah, if it's what I think it is, it's 10 power. So this match is actually over. If it's not 10 power, then Paul has the 2 time warps and should be able to get this one. Oh, okay, no, is the Archdruid So he doesn't have lethal. He needs to find another lord. He's got. Oh, Shaman will do it. So yeah, that's it. We're going to game 2. I'll just skip ahead here. I forgot to cut that part out. Super risky keep here from Paul. You can see only a 2-lander. So he's praying to the gods he hits that 3rd land for the dictate, and he does. And there's 2 games in a row now he's been able to miracle Temporal Mastery. Just get an extra turn for only 2 mana. So again, he's in this position here. He doesn't have the 2nd blue source for the Dictate of Krufix. So if John can capitalize here... Okay, so for some reason this time we can see the powers of the creatures. Oh, I like this spicy sideboard tech here from John. Throne of the Godfarer. At the end of the turn, target opponent loses 1 life for each tapped creature. Now this is brilliant when he's up against exhaustion. It seems like the perfect card for this matchup. You can see Paul's actually found the Hallowed Fountain. He goes to 5. That's going to put him to 1. Oh, if he only had 1 more creature, it was dead on board right there. Paul's at 1. So he's got to do his thing right now. You can see he's got a ton of Time Warp, so he should be able to get this one. You don't want to cast at exhaustion. So now it's Paul. Sorry, all John can do is just sit back and hope that he can't get it done. But I think he's got too many cards. This is part of the Water Veil. I don't like how he played that part, the Water Veil, rather than the Time Warp. Because now he's going to play the Time Warp when he could be playing the part, the Water Veil, with a creature. And just finish the game earlier. Now, Exhaustion you can't... Exhaustion's kind of irrelevant there because he can't give his opponent another turn. Or he's dead. I think he's just getting it out of his hand for the sake of it. And now he's digging for the win condition. But you can see here, he doesn't have an extra turn in hand. So he's got a top 1 here. He's got Dictate to... He's just dead here. Oh no, he's going to use Cryptic to bounce the Throne of the Godfarer. Okay, nice. Got to keep 4 mana up here. But actually, he's got the remand, but only 1 remand. So John can actually just run this card straight back out. Oh no, because he's silenced, so he can't play spells, that's right. Okay. Yeah, has to remand that, because if he finds the elf that does the 1 for each elf, he's just dead. Finds a Time Warp. Okay, there's part of the Water Whale, so I think this one is over. Three turns. He's going to get an extra 1 after this. He does have that silence in hand as well, so that's going to do the job. And we're about to go to game 3. Ramon's a little 1-mana elf. And we're going to go... okay, so I've mucked this up. So this is going to be wrecked for the rest of the sequencing now. This is actually game 3, not game 2. So he can't get the hat trick, can't miracle Temporal Mastery this time because it came 1 turn too early. But John's list, I really like that Throne of the God Pharaoh. That's a really cool bit of tech, especially in a list where you got so many mana dorks. Not sure if he's playing it main deck or he brings it in from the sideboard, but it just seems like it's perfect for against Paul's deck, because Paul's got exhaustion and wants to be tapping down your, and you can see Geiger Drow says he wants to be tapping down your permanents. In turn, Mika Koro. So he's going to be able to buy a turn here with Cryptic Command. Essence Warden I think is irrelevant, and here's a target for Cryptic Command. Collected Company. This will be counter tap. Essence Warden not really relevant in this matchup. He might have been tempted to sideboard that out. Does he want to use... Okay, thanks. This is a selective Geiger Drow, so I think he should have been all in then. Particularly, okay, so he wants to flash Dictator Crufix. Okay, so he's dead on board next turn, so he's got to start. You can see he's only got 2. Okay, he's got the cards. He's going to have to start sequencing here. He's going to a few favourable draws. This is the time now for John just to sit back, wait and see if he gets another turn. And with Part the Water, again he does this. I mean, he knows the deck much better than I do, but I really don't know why he plays Part the Water Veil over Time Warp at that particular point. Okay, so you can see he's out of cards, so he's going to get a couple of looks. Mika Koro and Dictator Crufix will let him look at it some more, and he's found one. Serum Visions is going to help. There's nothing there. I think he's only going to bottom one. He's got to walk the Eons. Okay. Draw a card again. Play Elixir. There's Laboratory Maniac. So he could just keep going off and draw out his whole deck here if he wanted to. Now he's setting up for the win. Tap down the opponent's creatures. He's on the lookout now for a Part the Water Veil. He'll just take the taking turns, so he'll get another turn. He's going to draw 3 cards, plus Mika Koro. He's got exhaustion now as well, so he can safely, that's going to tap down everything, including the land, so he's going to be able to safely get another turn here. He could, pass it if he wanted to. He does have the Walk the Eons. You can see 2 Howling Mines, he's going to have 3 Howling Mines out in play. So this one, I think, is over. Finds another Walk the Eons. Down to 19 cards in hand. It's 2, 4, 5. So he's drawing 6 cards a turn. I don't think there's any way out of this for John. Amazingly, did he draw that? I think that was in his hand. So now he's drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's drawing 7 cards a turn now. So John, you can't see this in chat, but John's just asking, I forget, is this an infinite combo? When you're drawing 7 cards a turn, it basically is. You can see Paul is down to 6 cards in his library. So he's actually going to draw everything out next turn and win with Laboratory Maniac. And there it is. Paul wins the match by drawing out his deck. So we're on to Legacy. Okay, so I didn't mark up all the menus. And again, this is a common one we've seen all season from Paul. It's, I don't know what the name is. He's probably told me 3 times, and I apologise. He's up against Dredge from John's side. Yeah, he's told me, I'm sure, a couple of times at least, but I call it Blue-Red Dreadnought because I can't remember. He's the only one I've ever seen play this deck. So what he's doing here is he's got that Phyrexian Dreadnought, and he wants to play it. It gets a trigger where you have to sacrifice it, and he stifles the trigger. He stifles it in 2 ways, by either casting Stifle or by resolving a Torpor Orb. So you can see he's got the Stifle right there. Not really sure what he's doing here. Okay, he's got the Stifle, so now he can do his thing. Dreadnought, resolve, stifle that trigger. Nothing going on the other side just yet for John. Okay, so he's going to return a Phantasmagoria. I don't know what... Discard 3 cards and return it to your hand. I don't really know how Dredge works in Legacy. But I think he's going to need a lot of creatures to... Okay, so he put Icarod in his graveyard, so he's going to get that back. But he's going to need a lot of creatures to take down a 12/12 Trampler. You can see Icarod's a 3/1. It's not going to be good enough. But on the bright side, Paul is on 13, so John could get him with a big swing here. As he just passes the turn, so he sacrifices Icarod. Okay, so what's Paul looking for here? I don't even know, to be honest. I think he's going to shuffle his library. Oh, it doesn't make a difference. He can get the land and then shuffles the library anyway. So now for John, he's got no lands. I suspect this Legacy deck is only going to try and gum the floor up with creatures, but he needs to present at least 5 toughness to block that Trampler next turn. So 2 power. He needs to get another 3 on the board. Prized Amalgam will be tapped, so that's not going to count. Still 3 power on the board. He's going to swing here. So Paul down to 8, so he's gone for there's a bridge from below here. He's going to put 6 power of zombies on the battlefield. Paul is going to... Yeah, he can hard cast Daze here. Oh, he doesn't want to. So he counters the Dread return. But that's 6 power. So he's at... John's at 8. Prized Amalgam comes back. A second Dreadnought might be too much to overcome here, because he's got a triple block with the zombies. It's triple block or he's dead. And a second Dreadnought, I think, will be not a bridge below, but a bridge too far. Wait, what happened there? Okay, Dreadnought must be legendary. We can't quite see from here, but he's got the blocker. So now John either needs a bounce spell, a kill spell, or he needs 10 toughness, 11 toughness to survive, which I don't think he has. So we're going to go to game 2 in Legacy. In comes a suicide attack. Bridge from below will get him a zombie that's entirely inadequate. And we're on to game 2. You can see there's a Torpor Orb this time. He's got a City of Traders. Well, he skipped his turn for some reason. He's saying no in chat. But I saw he straight away pushed F4. He could have just Torpor Orbed immediately. Yeah, he missed a turn. Paul missed a turn there. He's going to be able to play the Dreadnought next turn. John's going to see 2 Dreadnoughts. So I don't think it's going to matter. I don't see how Dredge can beat this deck. See, the 2 little 1/1s are not going to get it done. Down comes the Dreadnought. And that's lethal on board right there. So we're going to see a concession any second now, I believe. And a pretty comprehensive victory to Paul Reynolds here, winning all 3. So it's going to be a 12 points to 2 victory that's going to propel him right up the table. So he's going to be in contention for finals now. There's the suicide attack, and that is the win for Paul over John Harmon.